Okay, so we're going to start our floor slabs for this building. And we have a 4-inch floor slab under the office end of the building and a 6-inch floor slab under the shop warehouse type end of the building, because in the shop warehouse end you could have forklifts in there, you could have heavier trucks in there and so forth that would crack up a thinner slab. So that's why we're thickening it in the shop end of the building. So in my example that I have up here right now, you'll notice that I have already indicated where that line is going to be between the two slabs. And in order to find that line, all you would have to do would be to go put an underlay on of your main level, or level 1, and that would show that wall that's going to be between the two, and then you could just draw a slab for that area that's 4 inches and then draw a slab for the other area. I already have the slab in for the office end of the building, so I'm just going to highlight it here just to show you that I've got it in there. And if I went to edit the slab, you would see this magenta line around it that shows that I went around the piers. Now the slab that I put in is not a structural slab, it's just an I'll have to get out of this, I guess. Okay. So if I were going to put in a new slab, I would go to architectural floor and architectural floor. Okay. Structural floors are usually floors that are self-supporting. That's what a structural floor is. It's in a second floor of a building where you might have a metal deck and you pour concrete over it. That's a structural floor. A structural floor means that it supports itself. There's no earth under it, in other words. It's second floor type stuff. Therefore, we're going to use an architectural floor. Okay, so I have the floor in for the 4-inch slab. I do not have the floor in for the 6-inch slab yet, but if I go to put that one in, I'll go to floor, oops, cancel, architectural floor. And in this case, I want to put in a 6-inch floor. There's none in here, so I'll edit the type, duplicate it, call it a 6-inch floor. Okay, edit the structure of it and change it to a 6-inch floor. Okay. There's other things we could do to this slab. If we want to be more precise in putting in this slab, we could add a vapor barrier under it here, right? Which would have no thickness to it really or anything like that. So you could be more precise in the development of it. It's not necessary at this point, so we'll just leave it like that for now. And when I go to put my floor slab in here, I'm just going to hover over walls. I'm going to hover over the inside of the wall here, and it'll put it around the building. But it wants to put it around the whole building, and I just want to stop there, right? So then I have to go back and finish this corner here, finish this corner here. And now you'll notice it goes around the entire inside of that, but it doesn't go around the piers. Okay, so I need to fix that. So I'm going to split it here, and then I would go to lines and draw lines around the pier. And then do something like that. Okay, so I'm going to, for speed of creating this little video here, I'm going to just do that one, and I'll come back and fix the other ones later. Again, so now I've got this slab completed, let's say, other than finishing around all those piers, which I would have to do, and it's set to level 1 where it should be. and I'll just finish that. It's going to ask me if I want to attach it to the walls, and I'm going to say no at this point. Okay. So now I have a floor slab in there. Now, I talked to you about creating these openings in the top of the foundation where the slab is going to go through. And at this point, I've just put on some fill regions or hatches that represent that part of the wall is dropped down to allow the slab to pour over top of the foundation at those locations and still be level with the top of the foundation. Now we have doors in both ends of the building. In other words, we have some doors over here into the office end of the building and doors into the shop end of the building, and they all have to drop down. Now you might say, well, we have to drop them down at two different levels. We have to drop some 4 inches and some 6 inches. That's not necessarily true. We could drop them all 6, right? It's just that when the slab pours in the office end, it's going to thicken to a 6-inch at the door opening. So the easiest thing to do is just make them all drop down 6 inches. Okay. So if we want to edit the wall, we just have to go to maybe an elevation view. At this point, I haven't. At this point, I just put a hatch there, right? And theoretically, would I even have to change that? No. But if I wanted to, I could go to, and I'm not necessarily recommending that we do this, but if I wanted to go to, say, the north elevation and look at this, I could click on this foundation wall and edit the profile of it, right? And drop down different sections of that wall. You've probably done that in the past. In this case, I'll just do one here. I'll just go to a line here, and I'll say, okay, on this side of the door, I'm going to come down the thickness of that slab. I'm going to go over here to this side of the door, back up. Then I'm going to split this one, and then I'm going to do this and do this. And I just edited the top of that foundation wall, right? And then I could bring my slab through it. So that's something we can do, not something we have to do. So I'm just going to undo that for now. But if you want it to be really precise, that's the way you would do it. Okay, so I'm going to bypass that for now. I'm going to go back to my foundation plan. And we're going to put a floor drain in this building. And we're going to actually taper the floor to that floor drain. Because if the floor drain is actually a workable floor drain, it has to be lower than the rest of the floor, right? So that the water or whatever is going to run to the floor drain. So in this case, I'm going to click on this slab that I put in here. Before I do that, I'm going to decide where I'm going to put the floor drain. So in my case here, I have a door here and a door here. So you want to put the floor drain under where a vehicle would sit in the building. It's a trench drain. Let's say you bring a truck in and it's going to sit in the shop over this floor drain, and anything that drips off of or falls off of the truck ends up in the floor drain. So we're going to put it directly under the path of where a vehicle would drive into the building. I'm going to just use annotation to create some line work here. I'm going to start at the corner of this pier. I'm going to come down at a 45-degree angle. I'm going to start at the corner of this pier, come down at a 45-degree angle. Okay, so that's going to tell me where the center of my floor drain is going to be. Correct? And you don't want the floor drain to go all the way to the door. You want the floor at the level of the door to be high and drain toward the floor drain. So it's going to drain toward the floor drain in 4 directions. from the door into the building and from each side down to the floor drain, right? So we're only going to slope the floor in this one bay. Whatever bay you're going to put your drain in is where we're going to slope the floor drain to. I'm going to take these two lines that I've created and mirror them. I didn't get quite on the center, I see, so I'll move those two lines so that they are on the center of the building. So in this case, the length of my floor drain will be the length of that line, right? Okay. So now I'm going to modify this floor slab. And I'm going to put a hole in it. Okay? So you might say, why are you putting a hole in it? Well, I'll tell you in a minute. If I just pick the rectangle command, I'm going to go out here to this point. I went a little too far there. I'm going to move that back. It doesn't like what I did, I guess. Okay, so we're going to cut a hole in the slab, so I'm going to go to we're going to go to edit the boundary, and we're going to go to a rectangle, and I'm not going to lock onto that corner. I'm going to lock on up from that corner a ways over here, because if I locked onto those corners, I'd be trying to remove, I'd be attached to the outside boundary, and you can't cut a hole if you're attached to the outside boundary, right? So basically, by creating that new border within there and saving that, I now have a slab that has a hole in it. And if we want to prove that, I can just go to looking at it this way, and you see that I have a hole in there, right? Okay. So the purpose for creating this hole is I don't want to taper the entire slab. I want to taper just what's inside that rectangle. So I'm going to have to put a new slab within that rectangle. So I'm going to go back to floor again, the 6-inch floor, and I'm going to create a boundary around that floor, that hole. So I just filled that hole in with a new slab. It's not attached to the other slab, it's just right against it. If I say attached, that it would all become one slab again. So I'll finish that. So now I have a slab out here and I have a slab in there, right? They're both the same thicknesses. Now I want to click on this interior slab and I want to modify the elements of the slab. In other words, if you see in the diagram there, I'm changing some of the heights of the slab. I'm going to click on that. It gives me these corners with the grips on them, and I want to add points, which will taper that slab. Okay, so I'm going to add a point. I'm going to add a point right here, and the elevation of this point is going to be level 1, but the height offset from that point is going to be minus, well, we should figure out, you know, do I want a 1/4 inch per foot slope on this or whatever. And so it's about 10 feet in. It should be 10 feet in because it's a 20-foot bay, roughly. So 10 feet in, if I was dropping it a quarter inch per foot, that would be 2.5 inches. Okay. Let's say 2 inches. We're going to drop it 2 inches. Because a quarter inch is really pretty steep. You probably wouldn't go more than an eighth, but let's say we're going to drop this a quarter inch. At that point, I want to move over here. I guess I just dropped it in there. So you can go over here and change it, or you can click here and change it. Click on that. This one. Okay, this, when I changed it over here, I changed the outside boundary, and I didn't mean to do that. That should be 0. My mistake there. Okay, then I want to go here, and I want to click on this one and change this to -1/4. And then if I click on this one, again I goofed up. It's supposed to be -2 inches, right? Now something is wrong here because I shouldn't have these other lines in here, so I still must have some errors going on. I click on this slab and edit the boundary. No. Okay. Okay, I'm going to, on this center line, I want to create a flat spot in the bottom where the floor drain is going to sit into. Now the floor drain I think is going to be, it could be a 6-inch wide floor drain or an 8-inch wide floor drain or a 12-inch wide floor drain. So there's different widths of floor drains. I'm going to take and I'm going to offset this line 6 inches each way. So basically, we could put a up to a 12-inch wide floor drain in the middle here. So I can get rid of that center line. And now I'm going to try this again. I'm going to go to click on that slab. Modify the slab. I'm going to click on that one. And move it to that location. Change the height of it to -2 inches. -2 inches. I'm going to put a new one in over here. Make that -2 inches. Add a new one here. Okay, we're going to start over with this slab. I put in a new slab. I'm going to add some points. Add a point at that intersection, that intersection, that intersection, and that intersection. I click on that one and make it -2 inches. Click on, didn't want to let me do that, huh? Okay, so I think that's going to be right now, so let's delete some of these lines. Okay, so now I do have the slab in there, and you see the flat spot on the bottom. And if we went and looked at our building from the underside, hopefully I should be able to see this. Okay, kind of hard to tell at this point, but it is sloping 2 inches toward that flat spot. Okay. Back to the foundation plan. Okay, so now I have a slab. Let's verify that to make sure that's right by just going and putting in a section through it, and we'll see what that section looks like. And there's our floor slab that's sloping down to the middle. Okay, so that was just to verify that we have that. Let's go back to the foundation plan. And now I want to put a floor drain into that slab. So I'm going to go to Revit City. So let's go to Revit City. And when you get to Revit City, under downloads, under keyword, just type in trench drain. And search. And the first one that's on the list is the one we'll use. Okay, so it shows a little section of a trench drain. This trench drain is a component. It's about 2 feet long. And these trench drains, that's the way they come. They're typically a composite shell with a metal grate on top, and they come in sections that you put together. Each section of this floor drain slopes a little more so that it ends up at the middle or wherever at the low spot. So when you order it, if you were to order it, you would say, okay, I need a 40-foot of trench drain with the low point in the middle, and they will automatically deliver pieces that fit together that slope toward the middle. So we're going to log in first off. And then I'm going to download that. And that's what it looks like. So it's a trench drain with a grate on top of it. We're going to load that into the project. And it comes in on your crosshairs. And you'll notice over here under the project browser that it's a 6-inch wide trench drain. If we clicked in there, there is a 6-inch, there's an 8-inch, and there's a 12-inch. So let's go to the 8-inch. Okay, so now I have the 8-inch on my crosshairs, and I'm just going to, when you start hovering over that flat spot, you'll see it wants to turn it. Okay, so let's just, I'll just put it in there, even though it wanted to set it the wrong direction. Then I'll click on it and I'll rotate it. And I want to position it in the middle, so I'll move it a little bit. And then I'm going to move it what I'd probably recommend is that we put it in exactly in the middle of this, the first one. So if I find the middle of that, I'm going to move that trench drain. And then I'm going to just copy it multiple times. Until I fill up that area in the middle there. So I don't have them all in there yet, but that's the process. You'll just copy them until you get them all in there. I'm just going to look at my cross section, and there's that floor drain in the slab. You'll also notice that for whatever reason now that floor drain is deeper than my 6-inch slab. We need to put concrete under that low point, otherwise if you drove over it, it would push it through the slab, right? So you need to thicken the slab under this floor drain. So I'm going to go back to my foundation plan. I'm going to add a new slab. So I'm going to go to Architecture, Floor, 6-inch slab, and I'm going to set this new slab at minus -6 plus 2 inches because we've tapered it down 2 inches, right? So I'm going to go minus 8 inches. So I've lowered that slab 8 inches from floor level. And I'm just going to use a rectangle here, and I should be probably pretty precise, but just for speed purposes, I'm just going to create a rectangle under here and finish that. Let's look at that section again. And there's that new slab under there, right? Now all I would have to do would be to click on that slab and join it to this slab. That should have joined. Why didn't it join? Join this one. Maybe I put it a little too low. Let's change the height of that to minus 7 inches.
Is it important to make it bigger than the drain hole itself?
Yeah, the concrete would have to go down and around it, so the whole drain is encased in the...
Okay. So it should go past the drain, basically, is what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay. Any distance or specific distance, how far, or a couple inches?
Up to, yeah, I would say if the slab is 6 inches, you'd want to go 6 inches outside of it on each side. What? That'd be fine, sure. Okay, I can see now that that slab should be okay. I'm having trouble joining those two slabs, and I haven't in the past. For some reason, this is not joining correctly, but maybe what I should have done was to have thickened the slab first and then put the floor drain in, because I think what's happening here is it wants to it's saying it can't put the floor drain into the bottom slab, I think is what it's trying to tell me. But that's what we'd have to do. Even if we've done it this way, we can go ahead and use some masking lines to hide some of those lines. But that's the process for creating that floor drain. Go back to the foundation plan. Yeah, it's really giving me trouble here today. When you get done, it should look something like that.
Did you mask it or?
No.
Okay.
I removed the floor drain, joined the two slabs, then put the floor drain back in, and it worked that way. So sorry about that confusion there. And then, of course, I only have one in there now, and I'd have to copy more into it. I know what's going to happen is you're going to end up, I'm going to copy one from here, and you're going to end up with something like, at the end, doing something like that, because it's not going to work out to your even 2-foot increments or something like that. If that's the case, just don't put that last one in. It would be all right if this last one was down a little bit, right? So if there was a little flat spot there, that'd be okay. Okay. But just make sure you get even numbered. Yep.
So I did that, and the bottom slab is post.
Put it on the front end.
It looks fine. It's,
Yeah.
but I want to see that. I just mouse that over. I'm sure it's one.
Let's retry this. Let's run it next. Looks like it's
6 inch.
Click on that middle side. The other way we could have done this would have been to on this slide, make that
Sure. Profile in a sense, or not so much? I can just notch it in a sense.
let's you only have one break, so let's undo the green. Let's click on this slide. Let's make it the
Oh, I see. So go all the way through.
yeah, 6 plus 7.
Yeah, so the 13 inches. I see.
Let's put it in and join it.
Oh, I see.
Now let's move it up so that it's flush with the contact.
That's right. So,
Okay, now join. That line won't print.
okay. Just
Now let's look at the green.
There we go. Perfect. Yeah, one inch down. That should go. Perfect. Great.
Okay.
So that's one solution. What kind of deep fill? This is like 3 over 4 6 inch knob number. It's 13 inches right
We
now.
want 6 inches on it.
So yeah, we could go with 4. Exactly. Yeah. Perfect.
Oh, is it still running? I forgot to pause it.